Welcome to Crossroads and Conversations. I'm Geeti, an Indian woman living, laughing and learning in US for the past 23 years.
And I'm Komal, originally from South Delhi, India, and now navigating work and family life in Patiala.
Join us over hot cups of chai or coffee as we compare and contrast our lives
Our point of views, living in two different countries.
and explore what makes us tick
What helps us grow as women?
and the little things that keep us sane.
If you are a global Indian woman,
Or simply seeking relatable, quirky insights.
we are here to be your best friends who make you smile.
Crossroads and Conversations, an episodic journey of two Indian women saying no to age old advice and expectations, using unlearning as their new superpower, and laughing at surprised faces.
So tune in, sip responsibly while we spill the tea.
Hi, Komal,
Hi Geeti.
and hello to everyone. So, today is the episode where we are diving into practical ways to weave self love into the fabric of everyday life.
We'll be sharing our journey of creating opportunities to prioritize our needs, claiming our voice to establish boundaries without dropping the balls on our roles as a wife, a mother, as well as a working woman. And trust us, it's a wild ride.
We are your hosts with the most, Geeti.
And Komal. And we are ready for some real talk and laughs.
And maybe a few aha moments?
Geeti, we have sort of completed our series on self care in the last few episodes, where we laid the foundation to become aware if we are into people pleasing and move towards self love and boundaries.
We established how important it is to find ourselves worthy. We learned about why boundaries are important and all different types of boundaries that we need for healthy relationships.
But how do we know if our existing boundaries are insufficient or non existing?
Or even that there is a need to find time to practice self care.
It begins with mindfulness, a pause to tune into our emotions. When an incident, interaction, or conversation stirs something within us, we must listen. Are we hurt, disappointed, or overwhelmed?
Being true to these feelings is essential. If someone's constant expectations weigh on us, it's okay to acknowledge it. We're human and we can feel hurt or disappointed. Accepting that we feel let down, disrespected, or disappointed is the first step towards realizing that there is a need to set boundaries.
And when life stretches us thin, work, family responsibilities, it's a cue. Our inner voice whispers, take care of yourself. That's where self care comes in. We must honor our feelings, set boundaries, and embrace self love.
Well, people think self care is selfish, but honestly, when we care for ourselves, we can care for others even better.
Yeti, why do you think these concepts are important, especially for a wife and a mother?
Well, think about it. As children, boys or girls, we are so carefree. But it is in adulthood, but predominantly after becoming mothers, where most women lose their sense of self,
Hmm.
leaving behind a mountain of responsibilities and a pile of unmatched socks.
Motherhood is a place where time bends.
Yeah.
And somehow the 5 minutes spent on a quick email morphs into a 3 hour stretch through the land of unpaid bills and parent teacher meetings.
I know. Oh, well, we are made to believe that a mom should not want time for herself. Motherhood is just about giving and running around crazy, being sacrificial. And being a wife means putting your partner first at all costs.
Hmm.
But here is the truth, being a wife isn't about self erasure, it should be about partnership. We can prioritize our partner without losing ourselves. In fact, both partners should be invested in each other's physical, emotional, and professional growth, health, and happiness.
True, Geeti. Our needs are valid too. And if we feel unheard, it is okay not only to express it, but also set down some boundaries. Similarly, as mothers, we can be nurturing and still have passions, dreams, and boundaries. In fact, Geeti, the first step is to understand ourselves better. When we feel overwhelmed, take a moment. Ask yourself what conversation or changes are necessary.
Komal, you won't believe that when I feel uncomfortable with a situation or an interaction,
Mm-hmm.
I might feel let down or disrespected. In the moment, I might ignore it. But you know what? It keeps replaying in my head, especially when I'm in the shower.
Oh my god, it's completely relatable, Geeti.
I find
It happens with
myself,
me too.
really? I used to think it's just
Yes.
me. I find myself involved in imaginary conversations instead of relaxing in the shower. And in this conversation, I am saying what I should have said then. I am establishing the boundary. I
Hmm.
am telling them they cannot talk to me like this or expressing my emotions
Hmm.
rather than just taking it and walking away quietly. But it always happens during shower. And I think that's because that's the place where we're alone and we have a few minutes of quiet time, maybe.
Right.
But that is my cue that a conversation is actually needed with somebody else.
Oh, yes. So, how do you start the change or conversation?
It took me years to be like this because earlier the conversations only happened in the bathroom.
Hmm.
They never really came out of my head. Okay. It took me years of
Hmm.
understanding myself, understanding the concept of boundaries, and understanding that it's needed for me to finally get here.
Hmm.
But depends, if the conflict was about an interaction where I felt disrespected or put down, then I will have a frank conversation. It could be my kids or my husband or somebody at work,
Hmm.
but I will talk to them about it and I will politely but assertively say that this happened yesterday. This is how I perceived it. Am I wrong?
Hmm.
And if not, then please don't do that again. I did not like it, but you can tell me the same thing in this way, and it would be acceptable.
Hmm.
I don't have a problem that maybe you need something from me, but I have a problem in the way you communicated that to me.
It is sorted in a single conversation?
No, it's never sorted in one go, right? Because you have to remind people again and again every time these things come up. You
Mm-hmm.
have to probably remind them of the boundaries that you're trying to set. If they are tasks, then you have to remind that, hello, I used to do it, but not anymore. Now it is on your plate. You need to take care of it.
Hmm.
So it could be couple of conversations. It could be arguments. It could even be a conflict. But you have to be assertive
So true.
if you really know that this is important to you. And I think if you are important to these people, eventually they will know it too.
Right. Because people will push back when you exert some boundary. That's so natural. So, how do you handle tasks that you feel should not be yours?
So this is my own personal system.
Go ahead.
And you might laugh at it, okay?
Okay.
But I call it divide, delegate, or delete.
Oh, so it's triple D.
Triple D. Yes, you can call it triple D. So divide is that I evaluate if the tasks can be divided within the family.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are old enough, they're teenagers, and I feel comfortable giving them some of the responsibilities according to their age.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I believe that if they're old enough for a privilege, then they should also be balanced with a responsibility.
What do you mean by that, Geeti?
It means that, for instance, if you are old enough to have Instagram, then you are also old enough to bring down your laundry, fold it, and put away your clean laundry.
Wow.
if you are old enough to ask for an iPhone and have an iPhone, then I think you're old enough to use that iPhone and set up your own reminders, your alarms, your to do lists, and I can stop being your personal assistant.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
So dividing is as a family of four, what can we collectively do?
As a family, right. Got you.
Delegate is that things that can be outsourced and can be managed in our family budget with hired help.
Okay.
So, if you ask me, any female living in any country outside of India where hired help is expensive, I would recommend that you can drop maybe eating out once in a while, or maybe that shopping can wait, but please hire a cleaning lady.
I completely agree.
Yeah, it's probably the same cost as a eating out at restaurant bill of four people, but
Mm-hmm.
they come
It makes your life easier. Your day to day life is much easier then.
so much easier, so much easier. Hire a cleaning lady because people think that women love to cook and clean, but not all women. And then you are fighting over who's going to do the cleaning. Because the work at home is endless. And in order to focus on what is important to you,
Hmm.
I think it is okay to spend on getting help and freeing up your time without feeling guilty.
Okay. Can we really delete some work? I'm curious to know what kind of work did you delete?
There are so many things that we do that can be deleted because women are also crazy, and I was one of them, Komal. Like, we enjoy adding things to our list for some stupid validation contest
Hmm.
or wanting to be recognized as the best housewife or such a great mother, right? All of that.
Yes, I agree.
Because think about
Hmm.
it, I used to send out Christmas cards every year. Okay. I'll tell you, it's a long process because you have to either get a photo shoot scheduled or you have to choose pictures from the whole year
Okay.
that you want to put on your yearly Christmas card.
Hmm.
Then you have to send it for printing. So you have to choose the templates, choose the wording, send it out for printing.
Hmm.
When they come, you have to manually stuff it in the envelopes,
Hmm.
get everyone's addresses, ask for addresses, collect the addresses, put the addresses, get the stamps, send it out. Okay.
That's a lot of work.
So many hours. And I kid you not, Komal, you send it out to say 100 people,
Hmm.
80 people will not even respond with a text saying they received it.
Hmm.
And then all 100 of them will probably display it on their fridge magnet for about a month or two. And then after that,
Mm-hmm.
I think it either ends up in a shoebox somewhere for a couple of years or it goes in the trash. Imagine all that work for what? I have no idea why I used to do that.
Hmm.
Diwali ki mithai, especially here, Komal, Diwali falls on a weekday a lot of times and your normal work doesn't stop.
Hmm.
And then you are thinking, oh, I'm going to make some mithai. And you're slogging over it. Nobody wants that mithai. Everyone is watching their weight. First, you spend hours making the mithai. Then you are begging people, ki, please, can you eat some? I made this at home. Now I'm like, there are plenty of women around me making that mithai at home. I'm gonna go and buy it from them. It is still homemade mithai. At least I count it as homemade mithai now. And Komal, there is a fourth D
Okay.
that I should have mentioned too.
And what's that, Geeti?
That's deny. I have learned to say no and deny things that are unnecessarily tiring me or stressing me out.
Okay.
For instance, after a long week at work and home, and evenings full of driving kids from school and extracurricular activities, if they have a social event or birthday party that is across town, I say no, I don't think I can take you there.
Okay. Then they miss those gatherings?
They can miss them, they can find a ride, or they can ask their dad. But this weekend, I don't think I have the bandwidth to do that because it's going to cut into my personal time and other things that are lined up for the weekend.
Hmm.
Saying no to a meal that is going to take a long time after a busy day to the family is another one. No, sorry, that can't be made today. Maybe over the weekend.
That sounds so good, Geeti.
You cannot anymore guilt trip me into doing anything if my reasonable mind says it's not needed.
More power to you, girl.
And my self worth tells me that I don't need to do this to please you. And that's very, very liberating.
Great. I'm noting these things, Giti. I'm noting them. So, did it stick?
Yes and no. I would say the foundation gets laid, but every now and then, especially, as new items get added to our role and responsibilities, or kids grow up and changes happen,
Hmm.
or our life changes, with a new job or new schedule,
Hmm.
we keep having conversations. But the difference is, Komal, I'm always asked if I can accommodate it, and I'm not delegated anything by default. Earlier, even if I was asked, there was this inbuilt expectation that my answer will, of course, be a yes. But now it is asked to know if I can accommodate it, knowing fully well that I can say no as well. But that's a huge difference.
So, your time is being respected now.
Yes, big deal, right?
Right. So, the key is to keep pushing them
I think more than pushing them, I would say the key is,
or pushing back, rather.
yeah, pushing back on something that's unreasonable, but always
Hmm.
explaining why. I think why is very
Why?
important because otherwise it's very easy for the kids also to build resentment that, oh, you don't want to do anything for me. But you have to be verbally open about this is all that I do all day long. This is one thing I'm saying I can't do.
Mm.
I hope you can respect that. And most of the times they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, Komal, enough about me. Tell me about you. My showers are my cues.
Hmm.
What has been your turning point?
Geeti, I was commuting from my in law's house in the town to my clinic in the city every day, and it was making my life very hard. And I did it for many years.
Mm.
So, relocating to the same city where my clinic was located proved to be a game changer for me.
Komal, how did you pull it off? Because I remember asking you so many times to stop this commute, and you always told me that Geeti moving away is not an option for me.
Actually, Geeti, it was never planned. And what happened is that a few wintry, foggy nights, we ended up sleeping in the clinic and realized we could sleep in a bit more the next morning and saved up to 2 hours of commute.
Hmm.
And I didn't have to worry about chores waiting for me after reaching home late at night and had more time in the evenings to ourselves. The extra rest and relaxation made me calmer and happier in general, both as a mom and as a professional.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because saving 2 hours in a day can make a huge difference. But Komal, how did your in laws adjust to this change? Because I remember you were, or rather, you are the oldest daughter in law, and there are a lot of expectations from you.
Geeti, my in laws were not very happy with our move and initially believed it was a temporary setup. And I believed it too.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing the benefits, I decided to choose my convenience and happiness. I had learned to say no, and it didn't matter anymore if they were friends or family.
Wow, that's a new Komal, new and improved version. My God. Komal, you being a people pleaser in the past, how did you learn to say no?
That's a very big question, Geeti.
I know.
Geeti, living in a traditional joint family taught me a valuable lesson.
Uh huh.
Despite giving it my all, juggling a 2 hour commute to meet their expectations, and doing my best both at home and outside, I always felt like I wasn't enough.
Hmm.
So I figured, why not live a life of my choice and accept that I might never be good enough for some people?
Yeah.
At least my life is convenient. I'm happy.
So true.
Accepting this gave me the courage to say no where needed and be okay with people staying disappointed with me, since they were disappointed before as well.
Actually, in any relationship, if you have to do too much to make them happy, I have learned that they actually are never happy with you.
So true, Geeti.
You just learn it after many, many years.
Hmm.
We're giving you this lesson for free if you're listening to us. Well, so many times people have asked me or they have sent a comment saying that you say that establish boundaries, but how do we establish boundaries? Right?
Hmm.
I think that being able to say no and being okay with people being disappointed with you, when you say no is almost like a requirement or a prerequisite to having the ability to establish boundaries.
True, Geeti.
You're comfortable being disliked, you're okay with people being disappointed, then you can have the courage to establish boundaries.
True.
Komal, I'm going to go back and ask you again, what about the expectations of the family?
I stopped managing them.
Okay, okay.
I stopped managing expectations of people who could not see the strain and stress the commute had put on me during those years.
Hmm.
My kids were growing up and needed routine and stability.
Yeah.
My health was failing and I was working constantly like a machine. I felt like a robot, Geeti. And this meant that if being a daughter in law, I was expected to show up for social obligations on a tiring day, I started to say no.
Okay, so any special tricks to say no effectively, Komal, that you have learned?
Geeti, I use a sandwich method. I actually use it for so many no's.
Enlighten us with your sandwich method, Komal.
The sandwich method to establish boundaries means delivering a no or a boundary statement by framing it between two positive comments,
Ah, okay.
essentially sandwiching the negative message with positive reinforcement to soften the impact and maintain a respectful tone while asserting your limits. Geeti, it's a communication strategy that helps you set boundaries while minimizing defensiveness.
Komal, I think I use it too, even at work.
Really? Good.
So if someone has invited me for some social event,
Okay.
then, like you said, the positive start will be that, oh my God, what a happy occasion. I'm so happy for you.
Hmm.
So that's my upar ka bread of the sandwich.
Okay. And what
Then
is your
my
aloo masala?
so aloo masala or the boundary statement is, but I'm so sorry. I don't think I can make it on Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
And then the top bread, nice and crispy, will be that. But how about we meet up or grab lunch sometime on the weekend? If you're free, I would be happy to go out with you.
So now the ball is in their court.
Yeah, but it also tells them that it's not that I don't want to spend time with them. It's just that Friday night doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if they are willing to work with me for a mutual time or schedule or a day, I would be more than happy to go out with them.
Mm.
In fact, I do this at work also, Komal, because a lot of times you will see that people are overwhelmed at work because they don't know how to say no. And it's very important, even at work, to establish boundaries.
True.
So, Komal, let me ask you another question.
Mm.
How difficult was it for your husband to accept these new boundaries of Komal version 2.0?
I think, Geeti, he has still not accepted these changes, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yes. But at the same time, I'm not giving any choices here.
Mm.
I have learned and realized that after a long day of hard work and juggling multiple roles, I deserve a peaceful evening, a restful night, and a relaxed morning. Even quality time with my kids and control over my day and its pace.
Yep.
And I don't need permission from others to have this
Yeah.
because I have learned to love myself and I know I'm worthy of this.
Wow, Komal. That's amazing. As much as you need courage to say no and be okay with disappointing others to set boundaries, but I think the most important reason why you would ever do that is because you know you're worth it
True, Geeti.
and you love yourself. Komal, the most wonderful moment in a woman's life
And dreadful in the man's.
is when she realizes she can do whatever she wants and she doesn't need anyone's permission to live a life that brings her happiness and peace.
And Geeti, that very moment when she sheds off the weight of others' opinions, she becomes lighter as a feather and it gives her wings to fly.
True.
The thing is, Geeti, when we establish boundaries, there is always a chance of people taking it as a pushback or being miffed with it and not liking it.
Yeah.
Sometimes self love is the beginning of few endings, Geeti. Be okay with it. Believe me when I say that you don't miss out. And what's meant for you will eventually come back. In fact, when you love yourself first, you attract people who are emotionally mature and actually better for you as friends and peers.
Hmm,
They are happy being with you and understand and respect your boundaries as well. Those are the people you want anyway, Geeti. They are your tribe.
that's true. You don't have to please them, they accept you the way you are.
Hmm.
Komal, I revisited equations in my other relationships after I had these realizations myself in my self love journey. And I expect respect for my time, and I am willing to end relationships where I feel pushed or disrespected now.
Hmm.
It means telling someone who is being unnecessarily upset or angry on the phone that I'm going to hang up if you continue to use that tone with me. And actually hanging up on them and only resuming conversation when they talk with respect. Asking for help, openly communicating your needs, making it clear what's okay and what's not okay, which means establishing boundaries, demanding respect and prioritizing your own emotional and physical well being are all forms of self love. And they're all important.
Good for you. But did you see a change after you set boundaries when you feel the need?
Oh, yes, absolutely, Komal. One of the bigger changes that was unexpected was also that I was able to think through my own expectations from myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to shed the conditioning that I had picked up along the way, which was stopping me from establishing boundaries,
Mm.
which was normalizing things that should not be normal in the first place in my mind.
Right.
Once I did that, I was able to prioritize myself, my own tasks more easily.
Mm.
Komal, I've stopped chasing perfection and I have literally opted for simpler household routines and meals now
Mm.
rather than doing something more and more just to get validation.
Unfortunately, Geeti, we women feel compelled to clean and get judged harshly for having anything less than a spotless home.
True, but I stopped aiming for a picture perfect home, Komal, and I am happy with the lived in feel.
Hmm.
And everyone in the house is empowered and responsible to pitch in.
Empowered. I
It
love
is
that
okay
word.
if the tasks are not done exactly my way because I've also learned to let go of control and I'm happy that the tasks are completed.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, Komal, that if my kids are loading the dishwasher, I don't hover around and I'm okay if it's not perfectly loaded, but I'm happy that they loaded the dishwasher and cleaned the dirty dishes.
Right.
Or if they're expected to make their beds, I am not judging them on their bed making abilities
Mm-hmm.
as long as the beds are made nicely and neatly.
Hmm.
Because I also believe that practice makes perfection. If they keep on doing it, they will eventually learn how to do it right.
Right.
And the other thing that we often overlook, Komal, is when they do these tasks themselves, it also helps them appreciate the time and effort that goes into it.
Yes.
Now they know that dishwasher loading and unloading is a really boring thing, right?
That's a valid point, Geeti.
When everyone contributes for simple chores like dinner prep or cleaning up the table or just folding laundry,
Yes.
I think it takes off so many tasks off my list. It opens up time for me.
Hmm.
And that time I can spend with them or with myself.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, everyone is helping the household, not me. You are helping the house where we all live in.
Right. So, Geeti, is there a way to do things better from the get go?
I don't know, Komal, but the only thing I've learned, especially when you're entering a new relationship, is that we should not try to go above and beyond to impress or be liked or be loved.
Hmm.
But actually, we should do whatever we know we will be able to consistently do throughout the course of the relationship.
Hmm.
Because when you go above and beyond and you are doing a lot more to impress, that's where you are setting the bar.
Hmm.
That becomes the expectation.
Right.
But eventually, you're not going to be able to meet it every day. And then the disappointment will start to set in, and you will start getting tired of it. Maybe it's better to set the bar low and consistently deliver on that. And maybe some days on special occasions raise it.
Raise it.
But we actually do
Yeah.
it opposite.
Right. So true, Geeti.
We set the bar really high, and then as life gets in, the bar keeps coming down and down and down, and in disappointment keeps going up and up and up.
This is so true, Geeti. When my cousin got married right from the beginning, he set down boundaries with rest of the family. He made sure that his new wife gets time to adjust to her new family, and he continues to be the bridge between her and the rest of the folks without burdening her with responsibilities.
Wow.
Yeah, when we meet, he takes care of hosting us and our needs because he says he's our brother and does not put that burden on her.
That's cool.
This approach actually has built a wife's trust in her husband and strengthened our relationship too.
Wow.
Geeti, it also allowed us to first get to know our new sister in law and become friends with her without any expectations.
See, that's what I'm saying. If you push a new person already with these responsibilities, she feels like that she's not valued for the relationship. She's valued for the work she does.
Right.
Komal, what steps did you take to change things at your end once you started living separately?
Geeti, just like you, I outsourced many mundane tasks by hiring help. I cooked and cleaned less and used the available time to bond with my children, improving our communication and relationship.
Hmm.
I also established routines for better daily life at home. For instance, my kitchen closes at 9:30 p.m.
Huh? Your kitchen closes at 9:30
Hmm.
p.m. What time did it close earlier?
Geeti, earlier, if my kids asked me to make an halwa at 1 a.m., I'll get up and make that.
Isn't that late for kitchen to close? At 1 a.m. you will get up and make halwa for them? Jai Mata Di. How did you change that? Like that would be a big change for them from 1 a.m. to 9:30. Like what do you say now?
Geeti, I say that I was on my feet all day and need to rest now. So if you want a dessert, have a banana. And if you want something savory, have a peanut cracker.
Hmm.
If you are hungry, raid the fridge. But I am now done for the day.
Okay, so you have started establishing your boundaries.
Yeah. I've made it a rule that everybody should eat at the same time.
Okay, so earlier everybody ate at different times.
Yes, they did.
So these are big changes for kids or family members who are so used to having their way with no rules, right?
Right.
Was it easy?
Not at all. Every change was extremely difficult.
Yeah. And the thing is, Komal, that self love is a journey, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
True.
So you have to keep working at it, you have to keep it going.
Right.
But it gives you results in a way you can never imagine. The first one is having peace of mind and freedom from these imaginary fights and conversations in your head.
In your
And
head. Right.
having the freedom or the ability to think through what you want. I have made moves for better career. I have been traveling more to meet my friends. I have had time for my creative pursuits like this podcast.
Hmm.
I can manage expectations better just because of that.
So, was it easy?
No, just like you said, it's not a walk in the garden. It takes trying and failing and trying again. And sometimes even I fall back into old patterns, Komal.
Right. True.
There are moments where you feel like, how do I say no to now this one? Because you keep getting presented by new situations with new people, and sometimes you also get back into the old pattern where you are expecting people to understand you rather than clearly communicating what you want.
And you then sometimes give in also.
Yeah, you do. But then you remind yourself, and if I get pushback, then I generally have a very open, detailed conversation to understand what is the reason of their resistance. And I assert my reasoning also.
Geeti, for me too, it was a process of mutual understanding where their perspectives were considered and mine assertively presented.
Hmm.
But I did not stop working towards a more balanced life for myself. Self love teaches us to treat ourselves with respect.
And boundaries teach others to treat us with respect.
Wow, Geeti. Well said. Well said.
Komal, women should stop worrying about being good enough for other people and start focusing on whether they are good enough for her or not.
Hmm.
When you accept disrespect or overstepping of boundaries, it creates unrest inside of you.
Hmm.
But when you push back, there is a chance that it will create unrest in that relationship
So you have to decide unrest inside or unrest outside.
or in the relationship.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, I believe if the relationship is with the right person, they won't want you to have unrest within yourself. They will make changes so that you are at peace.
Hmm.
But if they are not doing that, maybe you should accept the unrest in the relationship, right?
Right, Geeti. Geeti, when you make a decision to love yourself, you have to actively work on it. Think about the effort, time, love, and energy that we put into our relationship with our spouse, children, or even friends.
And now think about how much of that we spend on our relationship with self. It will shock you. We take ourselves completely for granted.
And Geeti, when others see it, they follow our lead. And then we complain that others take us for granted. Well, we have taught them that.
Komal, the most important relationship you will ever invest in is the one with yourself. And once you establish a positive relationship with yourself, there is no looking back. Komal, I'm happier. In fact, I see a huge shift overall in the family. Now I don't move around things, giving up my personal pursuits just to accommodate everyone else.
Right.
Small changes lead to bigger impacts. Is it perfect? Probably not, because perfection is a myth. We're all a work in progress, and I'm happy with that.
Geeti, I'm with you. And I also do not compromise anymore on things that make me happy. I hardly had any hobbies,
Wow.
yeah, or interest for many years. But now I have started meditating almost every day. It brings me peace, balance, and
Hmm.
healing, yes, Geeti. And I also joined an organization to explore my spiritual side because it brought me happiness. I started to make time for friends and join them for occasional movies or dinners. I also now go for a week long meditation retreat every year and take short meditation retreats in between. I started paying attention to my needs, my personal pursuits, and started prioritizing myself.
That's amazing, Komal. Really, really good to hear that.
A crucial aspect, Geeti, often overlooked is the need to embrace tough conversations and
Mm.
discomfort in the pursuit of self love and setting boundaries.
Yes.
It's not easy, but it leads to peace and contentment.
I can vouch for that because my showers, once again, are my sanctuary of relaxation and music.
Wow, Geeti.
And whenever that serenity slips away, Komal, it signals a need to reassess something important in my life.
So, as we wrap up this episode, we want you to review your list of tasks and responsibilities and pick at least one item that you can divide, delegate, or delete from your list.
Practicing self love is difficult but possible, and more like a journey than a destination. So don't be at the crossroads and begin your journey to self love today. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We welcome you to join our tribe on Instagram at Crossroads and Conversations. Let's continue the conversation.
Remember, your life isn't just about reaching a destination.
So make your own mistakes, chart your own path, and enjoy the journey.
We will see you again at Crossroads for another conversation.
Until then, this is Geeti.
And Komal, signing off.